Welcome to a quick look at ATS Charts, our chart templates overview for the Active Trader Setups trading package. We'll be going through all of the chart templates for stocks. The futures charts will be covered in an additional video. We'll be covering getting started with your first template, maybe making your own workspace from the templates on the charts, and then take a quick glance at all the different charts that are offered and how you can modify some of those to suit your personal taste. Thanks for watching. Let's get started. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Trading Package, a day trader setups company. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're here, and go over to daytradersetups.com. You can find out more about our package under our features area, our registration area, as well as our education and training. We have a YouTube channel page that has links to various videos as well. And then you can go over to our members site. It's called tradermembers.com. Go to the products page, and we have a full listing of reference materials for our traders to access, but this page is open to the public. It goes over each of the charts and what they have on them, the indicators, the indications, how to scan for those, and so forth. First of all, if you have more than one monitor, go ahead and open up tradermembers.com. That's tradermembers.com. Go to the products tab, and we're going to be following along in this video. We're going to work our way through all the chart templates that are shown here and do a general overview. I'm going to be showing the charts from here as well as inside of NinjaTrader, and I'm going to try to follow them in the order that they're here. You're also going to have your NinjaTrader platform open for our clients that are using NinjaTrader, and we're going to get you started here. First thing we did is we've opened up the Master Chart Scanner Starter for stocks. This has all the charts in it that are stock related, as well as the scanner market analyzers where you load symbols in for different type scanners. Now we'll be covering scanners and what each one does in a different video. How to use it though is you just simply load your symbol list into the alert factory. You don't want to load too many. I would never be looking at really optimal list to be scanning would be a core list that you trade on a regular basis, maybe with 20 to 40 stocks in it. And then if you like to follow things in the news, you could have a specialty list that you could add. And maybe what I follow is I'll take earnings stocks. I'll pick 3 or 4 a day, and I put them in a different tab. We'll cover that in a different video. And as I create those, I make an earnings playlist, and then I move those. I can move those into my scanner as well as my core list. So I end up with about 70 stocks that I'm scanning, but most of them don't pop up all the time. These inflection alerts especially, they don't alert you when they get to an inflection point. They alert you when they make a reversal at an inflection point. So many times you don't even get an alert. But anyway, that's another video, but we're going to start with this workspace, and the first thing I want to show you is how to create your own. Best thing to do with these workspaces is once you want to start creating your own, and we have different starters. You don't have to start with one with everything in it. I have created you workspace for futures. That's a two screen, one with labels, one with no labels, and the same thing. I did a one monitor for somebody who just has one monitor. Maybe you're using your desktop at home and they're using a one monitor on two different platforms. Of course, you'd have to have two machines set up on your license. The others are masters for bigger scanners on a 50 algo rather than a 25 algo, but we have a master chart starter all, and that has everything, futures and so forth in it as well. Some people like to have some futures charts open as well as some stock charts, and you could take that and move the charts around. And then this one we opened today is Master Chart Scanner Starter Stocks. And the first thing I want you to do is save it to another name. That way you haven't interfered with what we've already created. Now we have a stock starter, 1 monitor and 2 monitor already pre-built with some arrangements. And anytime you open one of these platforms and you're cautioned that items are outside your window, you want to answer yes, because you want to bring them into your window in case something's out over the edge and you can't see it to move it back in. So you want to say yes, bring inside my window. But we're going to take this and we're going to do a save as, and you save it as what you would want to name it. I'm going to name this Temp Chart Overview because we're making this video, and then I will probably delete this after we're finished. But you name what you want to name it and save it. And now when we look in workspaces, we're no longer on the starter all. We're now down at Template Chart Overview is the one that we currently have open. If you have multiple windows open, the one you're on will be in green. If you were to close this one, it'll go back to the most recent one you had open otherwise. And you can save as you go when you're creating things. That's what you need to do. So we've created a new one so that when we make changes, we won't have messed up the template for the starter program. Now, first thing I want to do is caution you on the analyzer scanners. And what I want to caution you about is overloading them and leaving them loaded. Because I know a lot of you will get right into using this as you watch other videos. So you need to know this up front. If you load this with symbols, first of all, you got to give it time to load. It'll say loading up here, and it's trying to calculate all this information. So it needs a little time before you start trying to move around in your workspace to other charts and so forth. You can cause it to lock up. If you get a pop-up window that's from Windows that says that it's not responding, wait on it. It'll catch up if you'll just be patient. And you want to let it finish. Now, what you want to also do, the main thing I want to caution you on, is don't leave those symbols loaded in these columns every night. When you're done for the day, you want to click the symbols that are in the market analyzer, and delete them. And I really don't want to put a lot of symbols in here. I'm going to go over to a little more simple one with less columns to calculate. And matter of fact, I'm just going to do it right here. If I want to remove these, you can leave a list of stocks that are just the last price and some real basic information. You don't have to be calculating all these tick-based columns. That's what bogs things down. You can take this, you just strictly highlight it, hit delete, and it removes it. You can continue to hit the delete, and it will continue to remove symbols from this list. You hold the delete key down, it'll take them all out. Now, if you're doing that from this with many columns, it'll take it'll be a little slower at deleting, but it will get them all out. You want them all out at the end of the day. Save your workspace. Now, if you've been changing some stuff in your workspace throughout the day, you want to be saving it as you go, but at the end of the day, before you shut it down, you want to get those symbols out. I actually use and have it set up as well. I use a multi-chart screen where I have the same chart open multiple times. I might be trading 3 or 4 stocks at one time or watching 3 or 4 with orders set on them, and I don't want to close my charts. I have one called Stocks Most Popular Scanners Only. It has a couple of charts in there, but the main thing it has is these market analyzers, and you can open that, load it up. You don't have to see the market analyzers. They can be in a different workspace, and you'll get the alerts in your alert logs over here. So you can set that up to doing that math. And once you get accustomed to doing that, opening that separate workspace that you're going to load up your favorite scanners each day, is you can go in there, open it up. They'll be blank just like these are with no symbols. You'll load in your symbol list, and that's all you end up doing in that scanner workspace. You go back to your other workspace for your trading. End of the day, when you close, you can go ahead and close that particular workspace by highlighting it, and you'll go over and select the close button and just don't save it. Then you don't have to take all those symbols out. Just don't save that particular space. The next morning when you open it back up, they will be empty and you could reload it. That's the easiest way to do it. But if you accidentally save that workspace and you open up in the morning with 3 of these tabs with 60 symbols in each, it's going to take quite a bit of time for everything to load up, and you're just going to need to leave it alone and let it do it. So I'm going to get started changing this workspace. We've already saved it to a new name. And then once you get your new names created, as time progresses on and you have 2 or 3 of these workspaces that you're using, you can actually go into Windows Explorer and move some of these out into other areas. You can't use folders inside of for workspaces, but you can still move them out of this folder into another folder and hold them, and later on move them back if you need them. So you can clean this up to a smaller list. We'll cover that in a different video as well. So first thing I want to show you is this did not load properly. So first thing, this is what you can do when you have a chart that doesn't appear to be correct. Now this one's lost its indicators. If I right click and go to indicators, I can see that there are none down here. But sometimes you will have a chart that's not loading properly. The first thing you attempt is to right click, duplicate in a new tab. It moves it over here, and if it were to load properly, then you would simply take it and slide it back to the area it's supposed to be in, and then delete the other one that wasn't working. The next thing you can do is reload your template, and that's what we're going to do here. I know from the fact that by the name I put in the bottom of these tabs for you, when you totally don't have anything, you got to have an idea of what was there. So in our charts, at the lower part in the lower right hand corner, I give you the name of the template. I just modify the name of the actual, this is the indicator name, and I modified it by adding this, and that's the name of the template for this chart. Now in the case that, and you may have a chart that has partially loaded and you still got your indicators but it's not right, and most of the time duplicating that tab will fix that. In this situation, you don't have a chart to reference. I've given you the name down here as well. I try to put in the tab what is most likely going to guide you to the proper template. So this one's called Volume Alert. It's on a 25 algo bar. And if you want to rename these, you go to rename, and it's got the data series all. You can also see what I've added. So the data series all is providing you all of that name, including the symbol, and the 25 is the algorithm setting on the bar. But then the volume alert I manually typed in, so that's most likely the name of your template. So we're going to go templates, right click, templates, load, and I'm going to go in the backups. But I've got these divided out on the charts into different folders to keep this from being crowded. Then that way when you have your own templates, they'll appear right here, not in a folder. It makes it easier for you to find your stuff. Or if you're already using Ninja, you won't have a trouble finding your templates because ours came in and cluttered up your workspaces. I'm going to go into backups because everything's in there, and give me a chance to just grab this quickly. We're looking for volume alert. Click load. We have to have the proper data series already on it, but since we were fixing one, we did. That's the volume alert chart template. We'll cover what's on it later on in the video. And then this one was called Volume and ATS Inflection Daily, D for daily. We're going to load that one back up. Load Volume Alert and ATS Inflection D. It's the same chart as the other one, except for it has the daily inflections on it. This particular chart is loading incorrectly, and we fixed that in a recent upload, and I'll show you how to fix that later. Anyway, that's how you reload the template. Now we're going to go into actually working with some charts and moving these around, how to duplicate, and then we're going to review each of those chart templates deeper in the video. I want to show you how to customize your workspace very quickly. You can take your charts, move them around where you want to put them at. You can resize them. And we usually have more than one tab that's a related similar stock or chart with different information on it, but it's kind of semi-related to what you already have. Now, if you have, this is a real popular chart template, and let's say you wanted to trade off this template, but you wanted multiple windows open or multiple tabs, either one. I want to try to get to a smaller I'm just grabbing the corners of these where I can see what they are. The particular one I'm looking for. Here's one with a bar chart trader. And let's say this was the one you wanted to use to trade with. And you want to have multiple windows open. Maybe it's because you want to look at 6 different stocks at one time. First of all, you want to change the colors after you create those. In the corner here, I don't use red because red is your futures, and if you use red and then you have a futures workspace open at the same time, and you type in NVIDIA into your red chart, you're going to reload your futures charts, and that's not a good thing. So make sure you change the colors, don't use red. And you could duplicate this multiple times, just how I showed you earlier. Duplicate in a new tab, duplicate in a new tab, duplicate in a new tab, and then go through those tabs and change the colors. So that would allow you to have multiple windows exactly the same with different charts, and then you could work your way back and forth through those as you're trying to set up your trades and using the bar chart trader, or maybe you're just manually putting in a trade on the chart. The second thing you can do, and I'm going to remove the one I just created. Let's say these are 3 different charts, slightly different. But let's say you wanted to use this elsewhere. You can right click at the top, duplicate the window. It'll pop up an exact duplicate of all the charts you may have in there. You could have 6 wide, and it will have 6 wide when it duplicates them, including the colors. You may want to duplicate that and then move another copy elsewhere. You may also want to duplicate that. Let's say you want to just get one of those charts out, or 2, and you can duplicate it, and then once you duplicate it, you can go in and remove some from it. You can't take this tab and add it to this group, but you can duplicate the group and remove some items and get it down to only one. Or the second option is if you wanted this particular one we were looking at in multiple single windows, you can right click and say duplicate in a new window. It will pop that one tab out by itself. And then you can have changing the colors. You can have multiple single tab windows open. And that's actually what I do. I actually have two different tabs that I like to move back and forth, and I trade off of one, but I look at inflection points off the other, and I create that tab group like you see before with two tabs, and then I replicate that window multiple times and change my colors. So you do the things you want to change. You save your workspace as you're working. The green one's the one we're working in. And that's how you can move things around and modify, create duplicate charts and things of that nature. Now we're going to get into these chart templates individually. Remember, you can pause these videos and notate the time that you're at on the video and come back and watch them in different segments. You don't have to sit through the entire video at one sitting. You can also share our videos to your friends on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and so forth just below the videos, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already on our YouTube channel. Okay, we're going to work our way through. This is the chart that I trade off of mostly, and I add the chart trader to it, and then I go between these two charts. I have these two tabs. One is the intra-sessions lines drawn on a fast cloud, and these are 25 tickers. If you're trading smaller ATR stocks, you'd want to trade it with a 10 ticker. And then this is the daily inflection points that carry forward for 10 days. This is the videos you usually see in the trading series videos. And I take these, and once I get my chart trader, I put it on this one, and I duplicate the entire window, and then I change my colors, and I make multiple windows. I have about 6 of these open in the multi-chart trader workspace. We're going to work our way through these. We're going to follow the website now and work our way down through the tutorial area on the products page, and we're going to start with the first chart and work our way and look at what's on each chart. This particular chart, the name is in the bottom. It's called a 3 data algo inflection. It has 3 different data series feeding into it: the Algo 25, the ATS Wick Bar, which is your bars you see on the chart, and a daily in the data series. If you right click on the chart and go to data series, you'll see all 3 of these. Those are required to load this template. The template name is in the lower left hand corner, 3 data algo inflection. And the indicators that are on this chart is we have our trend shift pivot zone, which is our red and green line, and you can go back and look at some of our older video lists. Projection charting talks about this line on your charts, how it changes color, how it looks forward and tells you where it's going to be. Talks to you about this little indicator up in the corner. This is the price display of the dots. The dots is the algorithm that creates the clouds. It creates this red and green line. It creates our power bands. It's all feeding off of that data series, and can explain to you, like, see how this dot went here, pulled back, went back up. And if you, let's say you want to take this trade right here, this dot is what's listed here as current. This is the actual tick by tick price. In all of our charts, we have the blue in one corner. That's the actual price. We don't display it over here because we want you to be able to see the value of these lines on the markers. The spread is down here. Usually you got 5 cents, 6 cents, 20 cents, depending on what you're trading. But the dot is displayed as the current price. That's the current last dot plotted. As it's working its way down, the RZR is the lower price. It will be the next plot if it continues down where it will be. The GZR is the next plot if it's going up. So if you're in a downward trajectory, It's going to give you the current value of the dot. Maybe you were right here, right on this white line. And it's going to tell you GZR will be the level of the next dot back up. RZR will be the level of the next dot down if it continues. How you can use this is if you were committed to a trade, say, okay, this is going to bounce here. I don't believe it's going to continue down. I'm going to go ahead and take an early trade. I'm not going to wait on the reversal dot. I'm going to use my Alwick bar, which makes bars at half the value of the algorithm. So you've got it set to 25 as well, and it's making a new bar every 12 cents if it's running up or down. So you want to take the reversal. You end up taking a reversal bar off of this line, and you say, I don't believe it's going down any further, so I'm going to take the value of the next projected RZR, the next dot down. Since I don't believe it's going to make that, that's my stop. It's just that simple. It's right on there. You don't have to figure anything out. Now, you don't have to see this dot. You can right-click on the chart, go to indicators. You'll see a STSAlgo plot listed twice. One is the dash line. The other is the dots that are placed on the dash line. You don't want to remove it. You can just say not visible. It will no longer show you the dots on the chart itself, but they're still there, and it will still calculate all the areas that are needed. It'll show this box, and it'll continue to create these other plots from that data series, and that's true on any chart, but that's how you can not see the dots. Now, you get used to these charts, you will see through a lot of these items. If I'm on a pretty plain chart, I like to see my dots. If I'm on a more cluttered chart, I can turn them off. The main reason I like to see them, if I get these dots down below this band, outside the band, I'm in a pretty strong downward trajectory, and as long as I stay there, I want to stay with it. So that's one of the reasons you leave the dots on, but it's up to you. You can not see them. Anything, any indicator on the chart, you don't have to remove it. You can just select to make it not visible. So I'm going to give you an example right on this chart. And I say I don't have the dots on this chart, but if I wanted to right click and say I don't want to see, go to indicators, and I don't want to see the cloud. I like everything else like it is. I just don't want to see the cloud. Here's the DTS Ichimoku Scanner Cloud. I can go down to visible, unclick visible, click apply. It will recalculate everything. Now you don't see the cloud. It's still there. It's just not in your way. You don't have to see it anymore. You can do that with those algorithm plots. Back to our other chart. The other items that are on this chart, you got your power band. This has the daily inflection plotted. It goes back 10 bars. This one only has 3 on there. We explained in our inflection video how these lines work. And then at the bottom we have a volume alert. It doesn't actually have the volume bars, but if you see a pink dotted line, that's a 5 bar down, 5 high volume down bar. If it's solid pink, it's a 10 bar high down bar. So in this case, this stock made a 5 bar high and immediately came right behind it with a 10 bar high. If you just see the pink line alone, then it was a 5 and a 10, of course, and the 10 was placed over the dotted line plot, and the 10 is what you need to know. These are just visual aids to there's some volume coming in. If you happen to see 3 dotted lines in a row, then those volume bars are growing. Sometimes the volume bars are tiny and you don't notice that. The next thing that's down here is our power Momo alert. You can see right here you get the going from yellow to blue up, blue down. That's what I call the 2 blue ones. One of them's a -1 and a +1. That tells you that right here on this chart, this line went to from yellow to blue, from yellow to blue. They went simultaneously, and they went at the same time that the red line green line changed to red. All that took place on that same bar. Now that's plotting off this dot bar. You don't have to see it for the plot still to work, blue and yellow. But that's when you can get that switch over green to red and the double switch here, you're probably about to pick up some momentum in that direction. That's explained more in our projection charting video. As we progress through these charts, I want you to notice, I'm going to go faster now because a lot of the basics you've picked up off this first chart. This page will have a tutoring and reference series video. This will be the title of it. This will be the icon on the YouTube channel. Each one of these, we're going to make a reference video on each chart that tells you exactly what the name of the template is, what the data series are that's preloaded prior to loading a template, and what you're allowed to modify. And then it has the features, including the all the indicators that are on the chart. In that video, we're going to break down the value of each of those indicators, what you can learn from them. We're going to show you where you can scan for them, what scanners will be applicable to this chart, and sometimes one scanner can be applicable to multiple charts if you're looking for this inflection line, for instance. So all that will be explained, and in the very end of each of those videos is going to be probably in the last 5 or 6 minutes of each video. We'll show you how to construct this chart from scratch. You may have damaged one. You want to go in and recreate the chart from scratch. You'll have to start with a new chart and add your data series, get those in place first, and then you can load the template. We'll show you how to do that on every one of these at the very end of each video. That way, if you need to fix something or you're trying to create another workspace and there's a chart that you don't have in your workspace and you say, doggone it, I need that chart in here, you can come over, find it on the reference list, and go watch the video. At the very end of the video, it's going to show you how to make that chart from scratch. The next video, this is just an inflection chart. It's set to 5 minutes. You can change the time to any candlestick modification. It's intraday. These other plots are not attached to that 5 minute that's in there. We have the VWAP. That's your orange line. We have prior days open, high, low, and close. The high is in green. The low is in pink. The open is in blue. And the close is in yellow. And then you have the current day open, high, low. It's in blue, pink, and green again. And what we did on this, setting this up, you can slide this chart back and forth and you can see multiple days behind you. You can change this to a 15-minute chart, 60-minute chart, 30-minute chart. It's all fine. It doesn't change the plots. The plots are based on what happened the prior days. So as you look at the chart, the green arrows to the left indicate yesterday's high. So this green arrow represents the prior day's high to yesterday. The yellow dotted line pointing to the left is yesterday's close. The blue dotted line pointing to the left is yesterday's open. And the pink triangle, I say dotted, triangular line pointing to the left is yesterday's low. Right here, the dashed line is today's low. You see it recalculating, the pink dashed line. So this is yesterday's low. It's pointing right at that pink dashed line from yesterday's chart. This is yesterday's high. You barely can see the little green dashed line. That was yesterday's high. As it made new highs, it plotted it, and then today it references it back. These are huge inflection points. You can put, this is on a 5-minute candle. I have another one made with the wick bars on it that are working their way up into these areas. That's what this is all about. Big thing to know if you're trading. You want to know about all these levels. So you can see how this, once it broke down, it went back, tested VWAP, broke this down, and you got a big sell-off. And when it went back up, it hit the VWAP and sold off again. You also can have charts that will go down and double bottom and then give a big bounce. You can also have charts that break yesterday's low and then can't get back through them. They'll go down, come back right to that and test it. And a great breakout is going above yesterday's high, coming back, testing it, holding it, and then giving a big run. I can remember recently a couple of buddies of mine shorted Apple, and it had just for the third time tested yesterday's high. It was breaking out, and as it was pulling back, I was already long. I took it long on the third time when it finally broke out, and it pulled back about 20 cents. They shorted it 6 cents above yesterday's high. I had my stop 6 cents below yesterday's high. So I'm not getting out of this trade. And they were like, oh, you need to get out now. It's going down. It did not break yesterday's high. It held it and ran a couple of dollars. They had in their mind it was a short, so they didn't take it long and missed about a $3 run. That's how huge. Old resistance, new support. Nothing new. I'm not teaching anything new. I'm just showing you how to use it. Next chart down. This is our 10 bar chart trader. 10 bar chart trader. This is preset to be optimized on the 10 little 10 tick. This makes a new bar every 5 cents. And these are preset to fit that. And there's a template. You can load the bar chart trader from a template depending on the size you have. And you can modify all these. You can rename them and so forth. We've covered that in other videos. It has the inflection points from the daily inflection points. And you can always look in the up here. If it says 120, then it's the intra-session. It's making a new line every 2 hours. If it says daily, these are daily inflection points. They're plotted on the chart all day long. So sometimes you want to get a quicker entry off of the inflection point instead of using the 25 bar. You want to use the 10 bar. That's what this is here for. And that's all that's on the chart. It's got the actual volume bars at the bottom, up, down colors, red for down bars, blue for up bars, and then we give you our alert right on top of that. That's all that's on that chart, and along with the bar chart trader, ATS chart trader. Next video, series. This is the 15-minute chart that has the daily inflection. You see 15-minute upper left, daily. This is plotting the daily inflection points. Goes back 10 days. We explain how the colors are done on the inflections in the ATS inflection video. And you can see how this chart sold off, went back right here. This was a 3-day ago inflection bar. We put this line 3 days earlier on the chart. And the way the white ones work, this is the most recent day, was plotted at the beginning of the day, stays there all day. This was 2 days ago. This was 3 days ago. And after that, they go to orange. So you can see how this sold off that particular day, ran back up right to that bar and failed. Our inflection charting is huge. The two biggest things about active trader setups is our inflection charting and our bar chart trader for managing your trades with our wick bar. That's what's on this bar. You got your volume again. You can change the candlesticks. Candlesticks modifications are allowed, and how we explain that is any intraday candlestick. Do not modify the daily. That means don't mess with this. That's what makes these plots work. Next chart. This is our support and resistance. Now this is kind of cluttered looking, but it's really important. I'm going to show you how to use that. This is named 15M support resistance. This chart works with any time frame. We did include at the bottom the blue and yellow indicator for the bands that are not shown on the chart. You could add them on the chart, but it kind of crowds it up, so I don't have them on the chart. But if you happen to be looking at one of these charts and you notice that you got the two blue indicators at the bottom, you know that band is starting to separate and indicating a acceleration might be coming. Like right here, you had the two blues, and you can see it sold off. This is a 15-minute. You can move this to any time frame you wish. If you got a stock selling off and you're like, where is this thing going to? You can go to this chart and start changing the time frame. these plots carry forward. First of all, you see this old low. Pinks are old lows, greens are old highs, has a 50 period moving average and a 200 period moving average already placed on it. As you go forward in time, this was an old low. And as time passes, this lower line is looking way, way back. It adjusts itself up and becomes this line. So when this line adjusts itself up to become this line, you still have this carrying forward from back here. Now, the way these work, if you have a 5-minute chart, the most recently plotted line was yesterday's highs and yesterday's lows. And it's going to progress back through multiple days, showing you 5 or 6 days back highs and lows. If you change it to 15 minutes, it's 3 days. The highest, the most recently plotted high or low will be in the last 3 days. If you go to a 30-minute chart, it's 6 days. You go to a 60-minute chart, it's 12 days. You can go to a daily chart. It'll be 78 days. It will be the highest, the most recent high would be from 78 days ago. Most recent low in the last 78 days. Could have been 3 days ago. And it keeps carrying forward. So can you imagine if you got a daily chart and you've got a plot coming back, this thing will go back as far as 312 bars. So that's almost a year on your daily. You can switch it to weekly. So these are actually to the penny old lows where the stock went to and changed directions. So anytime you've got something selling off and you're trying to figure out where am I at, this is great for swing trading and so forth. You're trying to find support. You can keep changing this value, and I actually keep multiple charts open with daily 60 minutes, and I can just pop between the tabs. But you can change the value, and it'll recalculate these very fast because these are standard candle charts, and you can find old lows and highs. Now, one thing to remember with old lows and highs, if you break out above an old high and it's pulling back and it's hitting the green line, that was resistance. So now what is it? Now it's support. So you can break out through a high, pull back and test it and go again. It don't have to be bouncing off a pink line to be support. It has to be bouncing off a line. That's how that chart works. Next chart. This is exactly what we looked at earlier with the it's a 25 bar chart trader with a standard inflection on it. So it's got the 25 wick bars. They're the ones calculating the new high. Don't have VWAP on this because VWAP doesn't calculate very well off these bars. It does have the bar chart trader already loaded on it and set to 25 bars and optimized on the settings for the 25 bars. Also has the exact same yesterday's high, yesterday's low, yesterday's open, same as the other. We added the trend lines, which is a standard NinjaTrader indicator now, the automatic trend lines, and we have them on there about 3 different times with some different settings on that. And we have our force alert. We didn't talk much about that. That's on most of our charts, and you'll learn more about that indicator. We use it a lot in our talk about it in our trading videos, in our trade and training series. But that tells you you got your volume. It has a 20 bar average down here on the volume as well. It's giving you that value, and it's just that standard inflection chart that we talked about earlier on the highs and lows from yesterday and today. This chart is a wick ATS inflection. It's inflecting off the daily chart. That's what the bars are calculated on. That means they're there all day long. It's a 25 wick bar with the 25 auto trader on it. It has volume at the bottom. The name of the template is 25 wick ATS inflection. And you can see the 25 bar working into that inflection point and then rejecting. That's just a clean chart. That's all that's on it. Next chart, this is a 60-minute ATS inflection. We got this one set to weekly. Now, I don't know if I would want to be a stock that sold off on a weekly chart and had one of these orange lines multiple weeks ago. Remember, the 3 white ones are the most 3 recent plots. And if you're looking for a sell-off and a bounce spot, and it's going way down below the white lines to old orange lines, those are old low areas. They're not the lows. They're the inflection points that we created with our indicator from those weeks prior history. I might not want to go that far down looking for a bounce, but if I broke up and now I'm pulling back and I'm holding 3 days ago, maybe I'm in a breakout on a weekly chart. This is a 60-minute chart. I'm in a breakout that's breaking up, and it's turned around and it's pulled back, and we go back about 3 weeks and we hold this level. We may be a great spot to now continue that uptrend that it was trying to create over the last couple of weeks, and now it's pulled back during this week. This is multiple days. This is 60-minute chart, so each one of these vertical lines represents a day break. But this is a 60-minute chart with a weekly inflection line on it, and that's why it's named 60 ATS. W stands for weekly. That's all that's on the chart is the inflections and the volume. 60-minute. You can change the 60 to 15-minute, 30-minute, 5-minute, and trade off these lines, although I wouldn't be looking for this to be a huge 5-minute intraday day trading setup. It would be more for swing traders. This is an advanced decline line. I plotted a little bit different. I plot it with our algorithms. We have a 10 and a 25 chart side by side. And I'm looking for the directional changes. Many times you get this little move here, gives a little retracement, then you get the big sell-off. You come up through the red line, you pull back. Sometimes it'll pull back right to the green line, just like our projection charting teaches. If you're day trading, you want to know the momentum of the market. You may be going to get a momentum shift as you see the advanced decliners changing. The number of advancers are going up if the stock's going up. It may be still negative for the day, but it's changing direction. The shift, the trend is changing. More advancers are coming from being a decliner to an advancer to make this move this way, and that's how we have that set up, and that's why. This is a ATS cloud. This is you got to learn the clouds. The big deal to me is the yellow line, which is the cloud itself, or the cloud out here to the right, which is the yellow dotted line on the chart, is telling you where this cloud is out here. The cloud itself, you can see we got it in a darker yellow, so when you're coming into it, and the pink line represents a cloud behind it. So this pink line right here that's starting to flatten out, it's starting to draw this line right here. So if we saw more of the chart, the cloud was way up there at a point, and it dropped down. You get this breakout, runs up and hits this pink line. That's an old cloud level. That could be a resistance level. You'll learn more about the clouds. The clouds are a little harder to master, but now the one that's on the other clouds we looked at was a faster pace. This is not. The faster pace one's running off our wick bars for intraday trading and can be used for swing trading on smaller ATR stocks. These charts that are VL and VLST set to the 25 algo, it's a much stronger area of resistance and support. And the VLST, VL stands for value locked. And then we took the ST as a swing trade setting. It's a bigger, it's like looking at a 5-minute chart support and resistance, looking at a 60-minute chart support and resistance. So you have the cloud on a VL is a most recent activity, support and resistance levels. The VLST is the same algorithm plotting, but it's looking back more history. And then when you take it out to a 50 algorithm, it's looking at even a bigger time frame. So we run these on a VLST and a VL on the 50 and the 25. They're all set up the same. They have the wick bar overlaying. They have the dots on them that'll put here in your columns. And then most of them use this STS wedge. That's a little, it's called the edge. It's a little telltale indicator about how strong your uptrend might be. If you break and come down and you got an uptrend and this is not rising, it's kind of holding in this level, then your uptrend may not be very strong. And also when you get it red or green, very hard to get it red or green on a futures chart, it will also might indicate a lot more downside. You can see this went red during this power band is blue to the bottom, but the big deal about our power bands is learning that the other band up here, the stronger this is pushing away, the bigger trend you're going to get down. If you got them both turned blue, this is falling, this is pushing away. As long as it's pushing away, you're gaining momentum. And this was where I mentioned earlier, the dot. When the dot gets below the band, it's hard to get it outside the band. You got a very strong trend. Try to stay in that trend. That's why I like to leave the dots on the charts, at least on some of the charts, and this is one of them I have that on. The name of this template again is ATS Cloud VL, and we actually named it 0 ATS Cloud VL because it's one of the most common you have to reload. It's a lot of information going into this. And so we named it 0, so it's at the top of the list. The next one down is the VLST. We just really talked about what it contains. It's just a bigger chart. It's a bigger the lines are drawn based on a longer period of time, so they end up in a different place. And we have the blue and green on green and red trend shift pivot on this as well. You can see the edge working its magic here. You can see we also have the blue diamonds on here. Now blue diamonds it's called the ATS reversal indicator. They're on this chart as well. They only mark the reversal dojis of the all wick candles. So those are something they're there to kind of bring your attention to it. But once you learn about those, that's one of the ones you can make invisible. On the futures charts, these are designed to plot 50 ticks or 50 cents above these bars just so you can see them. On the futures chart, they'll be way out here because 50 ticks is a lot. So that's definitely one you'd want to turn them off on, but we have them on there to kind of get you started. There's a lot of indicators on this chart. But still, it's the cloud, it's the bigger cloud, it's the VLST. Going on down, we're into the bull and bear zone chart. Now, this is a great swing trader chart. We run scans looking for swing trade setups. Now this one's set to 15 minutes. You can run it on a daily for swing trading. It just gives you the momentum. You get a breakout in the morning. You can look for this to continue to go down if you still got the blue going up like this. That's a whole another video in itself, but that's what this is. It's just plain and simple 15-minute. Set to 15. You can change it to any time frame. You can run this on a 1-minute chart if you want to, and it will change the bands for that particular candlestick input. This is the daily. It can be changed as well, and you can see right here this bar calls that blue. The two blue ones got true. You already had the blue on the bottom. This came in and joined the party. That's a great scan. It's setting up for, if it continues the downward momentum, it's setting up for possible bigger move. And you can see it gave 2 big days down, an inside bar, and another big day down. These are great for little short swing trades as well as finding option trades. This is my favorite scan to run for finding something that's consolidating and give me that first little glimpse of what might be a multi-day move prior to. Now if it's a gap up, the gap's way up here and causes this, I'm not interested. I'm looking for the one that didn't gap, that gave me that little twinkle. And these will come up intraday as well. You don't have to wait to the end of the day and find it down here. As soon as it triggers the 2 blue ones, it'll show up on the scanner intraday. So you can run these intraday looking for swing trade setups and momentum that might be building for a multi-day move. That's also part of our swing trader setups package. It's a little smaller package we have is $39 a month. You can actually run these scanners on that on free end-of-day data. So for those of you that try our package out, or you're looking at our package and you don't want to have another data plan, you don't want to spend $85 a month, you just want to work standard candles, we have our Swing Trader Setups package, $39 a month. You can run off of free end-of-day data, and you can run these daily scanners on it, or you can run your plugins from things like IB, Thinkorswim data. If you're running standard candles that don't need tick charts, you can feed those in and actually run these scanners on a 15-minute chart, 5-minute chart, anything you want to, with your free data that you're already getting from those platforms. Next one down, this is the daily inflection. We already know what that is. So it's just set up for you can change your minutes. It's got your daily inflection, and you can move your candles to any size you want and trade off of these inflections. It's got your volume alert bars at the bottom and your actual volume up and down. And you can take these charts as well, and you can, if you like trading the MACD, you want to use our inflections to trade off of. You're not interested in our wick candles. You're not interested in our bar chart trader, which can be used on other type bars. It don't work well on these bars for the trailing stops, but all the other parts of it do. We explain that in another video. But you can come in and use the bar if you're using Renko bars, you're using Heikin-Ashi bars. They work pretty well with our bar chart trader as well. So you can use your bars on our inflection points and possibly even use our bar chart trader too. So there's a lot of things customizable about our package that you're not locked into using our wick bar. If you find you don't like it, you can modify the bars and trade off the inflection points. You can trade off the clouds and put standard bars on it if you wish to. This is a screen saving part. This is called the key level 25. We have one right below it called the key level 50. What we've done is we kept our edge because we like to look at that edge as a reference. We've got our volume bar alert at the bottom. We got our force 1 indicator, which we're going to talk a little more about in other videos. We use this a lot. I talk about it a lot in the trading series, trading and teaching series on the day trade setups. This takes the VL and the VLST cloud, takes both of them, removes the clouds and only plots the B line. That's the yellow cloud line from the right hand side. That's the dotted line that represents telling you where that cloud was. The solid line tells you where the current cloud is, but it plots them both. You can see that this yellow dotted line happens to be, and you'll need to watch the video dissecting this chart, but this happens to be the cloud off of the VL, and the pink is the cloud off the VLST, or vice versa. They happen to be the same amount. That's how that ends up working out. But this brings to your attention the yellow cloud levels, whether it be a yellow band, a yellow dotted line, a pink line. It tells you where those clouds were without having to see the cloud, and it shows you two charts at one time. So we have it on the 25 VL and the 25 VLST all on one chart. And we also have our key level markers. As you're trading into these lines, our key level markers mark both the VL or the VLST as you trade up into them. The markers don't mean it's going to reverse, just means you're trading up into the line. We put the marker above the candles. If it's trading down into the line, we have a green arrow down below. And again, you got your blue diamond marking those doji candles, and you can make that invisible if you want to. I'm going to go back up, and one thing I failed to point out on this cloud real quick. I'm going to go one more chart. Okay, that one wasn't very many key level markers showing up. As you came into this yellow dotted line, it marked it. It's several on the one below it. What this key level marker does is it marks those lines as I just showed you, but it marks it If you're on a 25 algo, this is a VLST. The key level markers mark the yellow lines or pink lines or white lines, all the key inflection points for not only this VLST cloud, but also for the VL on this same VLST chart, and vice versa. The key level marker, when it's on this chart and you see a red marker like out in the middle of nowhere, you say, well, what's that all about? It's about the line that's on the VLST chart. It marks both it references both the VL and the VLST and puts them on either chart for you. And it's also doing the same thing down here on the chart we were just looking at. It's marking this line, but it also could be marking the same line off the VLST. In this case, you got both lines for both the VL and the VLST on one chart. It's just a screensaver to give you reference to those inflection points and take up less room on your screens. And then we have one set to the 50 as well. These are big support resistance areas, so they'd be good to reference if you don't want to be watching the entire cloud. It gives you a way to watch two charts in one in a smaller space. This is my favorite trading chart. It is the stock intraday trend cloud. The trend cloud is the faster paced cloud. It's running off these algorithm bars. This particular one is the intraday inflection. Has a 120-minute feed. Every 2 hours it plots a new bar. Like right now, this blue line is going to become the white dotted line at the end of that 2-hour period. So you end up with going back 10 different plots. After the first 3, they go to orange, just like on the daily. So you're looking back 24 to 48 hours, even a little bit further early in the morning, at the inflection points we plotted from those previous days. So when you start out in the morning, the white dotted line represents the inflection of the last 2 hours of the day before. The little smaller white dotted line is from 12 to 2 from the day before. And then the solid white line is the third one back. It's from 10 to 2 from the day before. So it picks you up some inflection points from the prior day's trading, and then as well the orange ones will represent prior days to that. And then our day multi-day is the exact same candlesticks, same cloud, different inflection points. Both of these charts include the volume alert. I like to catch this volume reversal. A 10-bar high volume came in on this reversal bar right here, and then our force got very strong. Sometimes the force, as you turn up, will slowly grind its way up, and sometimes it will immediately switch from red to green. And from this bar to this bar, this can go from red to green in one bar. That means you had assertive buying. I actually auto trade this from time to time. We'll explain that more. And then this is the same exact chart that we just looked at, but now we're on the daily inflection. So these go back 10 days. So those are my 2 favorite trading charts. I keep them side by side in the same tab. I actually have the Auto Chart Trader set on this one, and that's how I trade every day, right off those charts. That's the things I want to know about for day trading. This we're getting very close to the bottom here. This is just a chart with the volume alert on it. It's an ATS volume alert here. It's a being plotted with the algo behind it, plotting the bands. But it's also got the red and green line plotted off the algo, so it's kind of the projection charts that we used in the older version of our charting package with our new algo wick placed on it. And also it has a band plotting off the algo wicks to give you that little momentum punch that might help you to decide if you want to get in a trade or not. Do you have the consolidation break on the smaller candles as well as the bigger overlay? And this is your projection chart. You can see the green go to red. You get a little retracement very often. Sometimes you get the retracement all the way back to the line, reverse to go back down. So that's just a quick view of that. We call that the volume alert. It's real simple and not a lot of stuff on it. This is called the volume and ATS inflection. It's the same chart you just looked at above. Has your bands on it that are plotting off the algo wicks. We added the daily inflection to it. This is a really popular chart. It's one of my personal favorites. I like to look at these bands. I keep this open all the time, along with the one I showed you that I'm trading off of right here. I'm also looking at this chart because I like to pick up my bands. I don't have my bands on this chart, so I like to see those momentum bands. And this is just a daily inflection. I think we saw this earlier, but it doesn't have a chart trader on it. And this is just a glance at a futures chart. We have an entirely different futures charts on a different page about products, but this shows our cloud, and we don't plot our inflection points. We plot VPOCs that are super popular with the futures traders and the futures high frequency trading machines. So this is a futures chart with the daily POCs plotted on it. They go back 10 days. So we use the same setups to keep consistency between our charts. This is the most recent day. This is 2 days ago. This is 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and then it also puts the orange ones on there that go back 10 days. So when you're trading into these inflection points, this is where your high frequency traders are jumping in. You can see that, and we have our fast-paced cloud on there as well. You can see at the bottom we labeled it intraday cloud, small tick size. They run off a different tick size. This is a 10 tick. We run 10 tick and 6 tick on the futures because the ticks represent 25 cents, of course. The futures traders know that. Stock traders may not. So they're an entirely different set of charts, and they'll be covered on a different products page. And then this at the bottom is actually the micro overlaid with the intra-session POC plots that we did the same kind of setup. We went back 120 minutes every 2 hours through the session. It creates these plots for you, and we actually overlaid the micro onto these plots, and it'll also overlay on the daily as well. You can trade the micro with our bar chart trader, but the plots are created off the actual ES rather than the micro. So that's how we've got that set up over on the futures. And that's all of the video, all the charts that are on this page and are included in the package. Many of the charts that you saw above are included with futures charts, just set to different tick sizes. And we have another products page that will have the futures individually shown on it, and we'll be working with the workspaces on the futures charts. Thanks for watching this video. I know it's long. You have to come back and forth. It's a reference to everything that's included in our chart templates and kind of an overview of how they work. And then you can come back to this page and find more details. Now, this video will be on the main website as well as this site, but each one of these reference videos obviously don't need to be over on the main site advertising our product, but you need to have ability to come in and learn about each chart and each indicator. There will be videos on the charts and videos on the indicators. And of course, when we're making the chart video, we'll be talking about what the indicators are going to teach you and how to scan for those areas. That's the main thing about trading. It's no good to you if you can't find it. So if you're trading futures, you're constantly looking at your chart and you see those VPOC plots. But if you're trading stocks, you're going to have to narrow your search down and you want to be running scans to get you on the charts at the right time. Thanks for watching our video. Continue to learn about our products, and when you feel like you've learned enough to want to trade and try out our product, go over to Day Trader Setups or Active Trader Setups. Go to the registration page, and we sign you up for 4 months. This is not something you're going to acquire overnight. So doing a 10-day trial is not going to do anything but waste your time and mine. We want you to learn. And the way you learn is through repetition, looking at charts. So with the 4 months, you're giving yourself an opportunity to learn how to trade and find your own trades. Learn some new systems, things that work for you. And in 4 months, you have plenty of time to evaluate our product. If you want to stay with us, we'd love to have you. And if you want to move on, you have no obligations. Thanks again for watching our video and being interested in our products. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Trading Package, a day trader setups company.